Okay, so if you go to tourbuilder.withgoogle.com, you'll be able to log in. There'll be a blue button here to sign in if you're not already signed into your Google account. But once you get there, you can create a tour, or you can go in the gallery to see if there's something already made. There's not very many there in the gallery, but if you click Create Tour, it'll ask you to name the tour name. So, I could just say American Revolution. If that's something that I'm going to be talking about. It could be something that kids are doing about a story. So they may be creating this. Maybe they read a story in your class and they're creating a timeline of that, or the stops that were made in the story, or maybe the author where he stopped while he was writing the story or she was writing the story. So just a couple different options that you could think about when you're doing this. But history is an obvious one, but you can definitely do it in other facets. So American Revolution, I click Create Tour. Okay. I could put my author name here if I want to, but you don't have to do that. I can click Add Photo, and then I could do, image by URL, search for image, upload photos. There's a couple different options. I'm going to do search for images, and I'm just going to type in American Revolution. What's good, these are already been vetted for copyright, so you don't have to worry about copyright infringement. So maybe I want to use this one. I select it, and this is going to be the initial. So today, I want to tell the story today. We learn about the American Revolution. I'm being very vague. Of course, you know your standards, and you'll be able to be more precise in what I'm trying to communicate to the students. So, there's a couple different things you can do here. The way you want to tell or give the information to the student, or maybe the student wants to tell the information. So if you disable it, it's not really like it's telling a story from one location to the next. It's more of like, here's just some points of interest, and they really don't have anything to do. And so what you could do there, if you disable it, you could color the markers, and then if it's 2 or 3 people you're trying to tell a story about at the same time, you could mark those people with a certain color, and then just let them know on the front end, like, Paul Revere is red, and George Washington is blue, on and on and on. And then they know, okay, when I see a blue marker, we're talking about George Washington. When I see a red marker, we're talking about Paul Revere. All right, or you could tell a story. Maybe it's connected, or you can even do a hub. Maybe there's a central location that everything is happening at, but then it connects to other locations, such as Washington, D.C. is our main capital, and maybe you're telling a story from things that happen from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta, then from Washington, D.C. to New York, from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, just, depending on what you're trying to tell. Okay, so I'm just going to do a story in 3D, and then I'm going to click Add Location. So when I add a location, maybe I'm talking about Washington, D.C., but then I want to connect it, or I'll start at Washington. So Washington, D.C., and I'm just going to add Washington, D.C. to the tour. Now, what I can do after I click Add to Tour, I can actually zoom in some. So click the little zoom button, and maybe I want to zoom way in. I say, okay, lock this particular view. This is where I actually want students to see it. So I'm going to lock this. And now when students come here, not only do they come to Washington, D.C., but they come to this exact view of Washington, D.C. that I've locked in place. So I can add a video if I want to. So I could look on my YouTube, if I have some videos, or I can search YouTube, and then I can say Washington, or maybe history of Washington, D.C. Now these haven't been vetted for education, so you would definitely want to spell it first in the correct manner, but you would definitely want to vet these before you showed them in class. So let's pretend I've watched this. This is a good one. This is what I want kids to see, so I can select that. Now they're going to have a video to watch. Okay, I can click Add More, and I can actually say, what, besides just a video, I'm going to search for images, and I'm going to type in Washington, D.C. What, I want them to get a good view of the Capitol. So this one, or maybe this one and this one. So I want them to really get different views of the Capitol. And now what will happen is they can watch the video, and then they can rotate through and look at different images. Okay, so then I can tell them some information. So what's going on, look at the video, give them some instruction, and write about your thoughts and what you learned. Okay, again, being just really vague. I can change the icon here. So this is what I was talking about before. If you picked the disabled method, and maybe Paul Revere was going to represent something, and then George Washington would represent something else. So I could select red for one thing and then blue for another, so that students are keeping up with what they're doing. Okay, I can even add links. So I could come search Washington DC history. And I come here, that's a .org, it's probably pretty good. I read all this, pretend I thought it was good. So I can copy, right click, copy this, come back to my tour builder, click the link button in here, paste my URL, and then change it to Washington history. So now, when kids click on this, they're taken to a new page. And if I want to change it, I just click on it and I click change. So maybe I found a better link later on, I can change that. Also, I'd always leave this checked. Open this link in a new window. That way they're not navigating away from Tour Builder, they're just going to a new window. Alright, so I'm done with Washington. Now we're going to do Baltimore. So the next place is Baltimore, Maryland. So I add that to tour. Let's say not only did I want this to be just Baltimore, but I wanted to zoom way in. So I'm going to zoom way in, and actually I want students to get a good view from this location particularly. I want them to see the Baltimore Convention Center, for whatever reason. Now I want them to come see this. So I could do that, or we could zoom back out and exit the street view, and maybe I want them to be on the street instead. So maybe I want them to get this kind of view. And then not just this particular view, but I want them to view exactly this view. So I can lock this view just like I did before, and then I can send anyways. And so now it's going to lock this exact view for them. Again, I can add photos and videos. If I could type in Baltimore and add some places from Baltimore. Again, you're the teacher, if those are good or not for you. Again, tell some information. I can add links. I can do some bullets and some numbers, bold text, underline, some just general stuff that you could do. And again, I can change the icon. So now, I'm going to be blue. So like maybe this was wars. Maybe it was wars fault. Maybe there was some wars fault at, Washington or Baltimore. And maybe the blue represents a win for the British, and red represents a win for... that's backwards, actually. So the red would represent the British and the blue would represent American wins. So that's just some information on how you can use this. So now, after you've added every location that you want to do, you can click Done Editing and then Share. So this is how students are going to get the information. So after you click Share, you want to change this to anyone who has the link. Save this, and now you can take this link and share it to Google Classroom. You could email it to students. You could create a short link. So to show you how to do that, I use Bitly. So I just type in Bitly. I come here. I paste in the tour, and now this little short link has become this tour. And so I can copy this and share this with students, and maybe put it on my smartboard and blow it up so they can see it. And then they type in that code, and then they'll come to this tour. Just one more interesting fact, if students come to this tour, if they click the little hamburger, or you click the little hamburger looking thing and you click Open in Earth, it gives you just a slightly better view of the tour that you've made. And this is the only way to get them to kind of see that more three-dimensional aspect to things. It does take a little bit of time to load, but once it loads, it's good to go. This is what will happen to students when they come, because it's trying to do this is the new Google Earth. So you just skip that. And then you also want to take this little bookmark thing off, so that's out of your way. And as soon as I hit next, it zooms into the first location that I specified. Takes a little bit of time, but it gets all the way there. Okay. Again, in that exact view that I wanted. some things they can do. They can click this little 3D button. It gives them more of a 3D look. If I click next, it'll take it to Baltimore. So you'll notice it zooms out. It's going to go all the way up to Baltimore, and then it's going to zoom in. And what I like about that, it kind of gives kids that relationship of, you know, where they're at in the world. So then they can zoom out if they wanted to, and everything's kind of 3D rendered, so they can actually play around a little bit while they're in it, and then of course they can just move on. Okay, and that's pretty much it. And just to kind of show you, and as they navigate, they're just taken back to the original. But to show you, if I click on the video, it'll play the video, you know, and you know, we're good to go. If they want to look at the images, they can open up these resources and stuff and look at images from there if they wanted to, and they can turn these on and off, looking at these locations. So that's what they can do while that's on the side. But that's pretty much it. If they do accidentally exit out, all they have to do, you know, is just click the little hamburger and open in Earth again. As soon as they do that, it'll open up the tour back in Earth and they'll be good to go. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole thing. They can do the same thing here. I mean, they can go through the tour inside of Tour Builder. So when they click next, just notice how it kind of zooms in and jumps around. It's not as fluid as your Google Earth view would be. That's the only differences between using this platform to do the tour versus using Google Earth. Okay, that's it.